The next fly to show you is a Mallard and Claret. It's a very old fly. It was devised by a Scottish angler, but many Welsh anglers would never be without it. It's a very good all-round wet fly for trout and sea trout. I'm going to tie it in a large size here so that you can, it may come out clearer on the video. It's a very good fly for sea trout, especially in low water at dusk. Very good lake fly, and in the smaller sizes it's good for trout. There are variations to it. I've seen it tied with a silver body, then it would be called a silver mallard, and I've also seen it with jungle cock cheeks. I've heard it said that when in doubt, put on a Mallard and Claret. One thing to tell you, the mallard wing always tends to split. It doesn't affect the effectiveness of it, but it doesn't sort of stay together like the teal wing, which again, this is a teal and black. You can see how the wing sort of tends to stay together, whereas this splits a bit and turns out to look a bit like a hare wing. In spite of that, it still doesn't affect the way the trout or sea trout go for it. Okay, so I'm now going to tie the fly, and I've already waxed this silk, and I'm going to take the silk from the eye down towards the bend and put in the tail. Cut off the surplus silk here. The tail is the tippet, the golden pheasant tippet. It's from the, well, the back of the neck really of a golden pheasant. You can see how the tips are fairly lined up on this feather. Can you see how they're lined up? With some feathers we would pull them down to straighten the tips, but with this we don't do that, so we just keep it like that and cut out a section the amount we want. And the feather is a bit dull one side and a nice colour the other side. So I'm going to try to fold off, you see where I cut the piece off? I'm going to try to fold it so the bright part is showing. It doesn't matter too much about that. Try to get the proportions, it's about there. And have a look at it. Yeah, I think that's about right. So that's our tail on. Now I'm going to put on a rib, which is a gold braid. This is the braid. It's lure flash. It's medium oval tinsel, and it's gold. Cut a piece off and I tie it in. The hook I'm using is a size 6, and it's what I call a salmon style hook, which means it's got a fold over eye. I don't know if you can see that fold over eye there. So when I tie the braid in, I tie it along the body to bridge that little gap on the hook. I've tied it pretty well full length at the moment, but I haven't tied it all in yet. I'm now going to put on the body, which is seal's fur. I use ice dub and I use a seal's fur, and I mix the two together. This is the Claret seal's fur, which I'm going to use, and I mix it with this ice dub. You see this ice dub here? The colour actually is shown as rust, but it's got a glint and a sparkle about it, and mixed with the natural seal's fur, to me, makes a very attractive body. So I just take a pinch or two out like this, and I put it there, and I'll take a pinch of the genuine seal's fur the original natural seal's fur, which has been dyed, obviously, the seal's fur, and I sort of mix the two of them up by doing this, just putting them together, mixing, pulling them apart and mixing. Sometimes with seal's fur, it isn't a bad idea to put it in your in the palm of your hand, rub your finger around it, sort of bends it and twists it and kinks it, and helps it to bind onto the silk. Now I'm going to put some more wax on this silk. I've already waxed it once, but I'm just going to put some more wax on to get the body material to stick a bit better. Okay. Usual procedure, a little bit of moisture. I'll say moisture. You know what I mean. Okay. I'll just get back to where I wanted to start, which is about there. Wind up. Put on some more. With all doing, bit at a time is always the answer. Always better to do it that way. If you want a thicker body, you just go over a few more times. Just a touch more. Don't try to put more on the silk to get a thicker body. Keep it down, but go over a few more times. Okay, there we are. That's the body on. And now I'm going to rib it. Generally speaking, I would rib the opposite way with a body like this. But it doesn't matter with this because I want the rib to cut down and give a sort of segmented body. And so this is good. This is okay to go the normal way. The same way as I wound the body. Okay, secure this, and then give a few winds to doubly secure it. Cut off the surplus, couple of little long strands there. May add a bit of attraction, it doesn't really matter. Okay, now the next item is a throat hackle, and the throat hackle is it's a natural red. I find the Rhode Island red cock gives the right sort of colour. It's a natural. I'd probably put on a couple of these, and it's quite a light one, a light hackle. Goes up and down. I do a pinch and loop up like that. While I'm there, I'll nip this off, but I haven't finished with it yet. Put on some more. You see I'm drawing the hackle down to get the tips in line. Tear it off. Go up under again. Pinch and loop up again. It's okay. For the surplus. I think I'm going to do another one. Sometimes you can get two feathers together and do it all in one go. But this is going okay. Up under. Various ways of putting on a throat hackle or a beard hackle. Some people wind it, sort of dry fly style, and then draw it down. Nothing wrong with doing that, but I like to do it that way because if you wind it, you take around the stalk. Okay, now we come to the best part, the wing. It's the mallard wing, and the wing is bronze mallard, which comes from the shoulder of the mallard duck. Now, with most wing slips, as you know, you get opposing feather slips, and you put them together so that they counteract each other in the water. Mallard, very much like teal, is not easy to handle. So I put on a folded wing, and I'll just show you how I do that using this piece of paper. Say this is the sheet of wing, which we'll come to in a minute. I pull half to the middle, another half to the middle. You see, it's four. I suppose you could say quarter to the middle, then in half, and you've actually got like four pieces of mallard. Not that that matters really much, but I find it's easier to put it on like that. So we got our wing like this. Sort of draw it down a bit till the ends are somewhere in line. Don't need to be too precise about this, but can you see what I mean? So get it down like that, and I cut off with the scissors, and I've got a sheet of feather like that. So now I'm going to try to fold it to give you the idea of what I mean. So I'm folding towards the middle, quarter towards the middle, another quarter towards the middle. I don't suppose it's coming up very well on the camera, and then in half again. And that's the wing I'm aiming for there. Now, it looks pretty good there, but I can assure you when I tie it in, it'll sort of flare a bit, and that doesn't matter too much at all. So I'll shorten my silk a bit, and I'll now do a pinch and loop, up and down. You see how I mean it sort of flares and splits a bit? They all tend to do that, but it doesn't affect the fly too much. Nip off this surplus here close to the eye, and that's our wing on. Can you see that? Okay, I'm now going to tie to finish off the head. And I will do my usual whip finish. And that's the fly complete. It's a fairly straightforward fly to tie, and if you get into handling that mallard feather, it does have some attraction for trout and sea trout, and it's a bit like teal to handle, which is a bit of a nuisance on occasions, but it's all down to practice. Feather wings, hair wings I meant to say, are becoming more and more popular, and they are very, very good. Out of choice, I would go for a hair wing, but it's my duty to show you the original tie-in of most of these flies if I can. If I feel there's an improvement or a variation, there again, I feel it's my duty to tell you. I feel that the claret body benefits from this glistening, sparkly ice dub mixed with the original claret seal's fur. Whatever you do, don't use a light seal's fur, because that is it can be tied too light. Nice and dark like this gives an attraction to the trout and the sea trout. Okay, it's also a very good lake fly. Right, thanks for watching that.